Good morning, children. Welcome to today's class. I hope you must have gone through the two videos. One is the Disney animation, and the other one, the animation of the ant and the cricket. Hope you have got the meaning and the kind of story about it. And today, we're going to learn the first poem, The Ant and the Cricket. Let us have some conversation about it. You see, in this cartoon characters or cartoon that you have watched, you must have seen that all the characters in the story are animals. Have you got any idea of such stories that you have read so many in your life are called? What is called to such stories which have the animals are the characters? Let me tell you. It is called fables. Fables are stories which have animals as characters. Are animals only the characters? Or only animals are the characters? Not necessarily. Maybe sometimes only animals will be the characters. Sometimes there'll be mixture of human beings as well as the animals. Sometimes there'll be inanimate objects or the forces of nature like wind, air, sky, etc., taking the shape of human beings and speaking. Sometimes other forms of inanimate objects will be there. So we can say that a fable is a story which has animals or inanimate objects or natural forces as characters. Um, and at the end of the story, we can see that there is something very much about it as a moral, or we can call a maxim or a saying. For example, you must have learned a lot of stories like this, like the hare and the tortoise, or the tortoise and the hare. And there you have learned the moral: slow and steady wins the race. Then you must have read the story of the four oxen and the lion. There we get the maxim or the saying that united we stand, divided we fall, or unity is strength. So let us conclude saying that fables are stories, the characters of which are animals or inanimate objects or natural forces, etc. Okay, so here we are going to have such a kind of a fable which is written by Aesop. Now, let me tell you about the history of fables. You can find that the history of fables can be rooted back to the 550 BC, where in Greece it originated. A slave named Aesop wrote the first fable, and he has hundreds of fables in his name. So he is called the father of fables. Okay, and do fables limit only to Greek? No, it is a genre of literature, folk literature, and every country, every language has fables. Let us come back to India. What are Indian fables? Let us see. You must have learned a lot of Indian stories or folk tales. Your dad or your mom must have told you or narrated to you, or the grandparents must have narrated to you. You must have heard of this name, Vishnu Sharma's famous fables collection called Panchatantra. Okay, so we have Jataka tales also as fables. So every country has its own folklore literature, and fables are rich among them. But why was fable used, or when was fables used in life? In Greek education, you can find that fables were integral part of their learning. Each one had to learn a lot of fables and to understand, analyze, and have a deeper meaning about the story's morals. And in public speeches as well, they used to use these rich moral stories in the form of declamations or argument, etc. So that is the history of fables. Now let us learn this poem, The Ant and the Cricket. You may remember in the video you have, the first video was that of the ant and the grasshopper, and the second one was that of the ant and the cricket. But the end of the poem, or the ending of the poem, we can say in the ant and cricket that we're going to study, there's a little difference from the story or the video you watched. So we are going to analyze that. Before that,